This is a lot harder than I expected it to be. Over the last 4 years, I've been working nonstop toward receiving my degree here at college. I grew up in Minot, North Dakota, small town, right in the dead center of North America. And during my senior year, right before graduating high school, I decided I was going to move down to Georgia and go to school at the Savannah College of Art and Design. As a senior in high school, a lot of people ask you where you plan on going to college, or if you plan on going to college. There was one person during my senior year, a teacher, who had overheard me talking about the fact that I got accepted into the school that I wanted to go to. And they had asked what school it was. I said SCAD. They asked me what that was, so I explained that it was the Savannah College of Art and Design. They looked at me and said, "Oh, it's an art school. Everybody gets accepted into those." And I'd be lying if I said that didn't bother me in that moment. I was upset. It sort of made me feel like I was making the wrong decision furthering my education. But I committed to it, and by the end of that following summer, I moved to Georgia. Packed up all my stuff, got in a car, and drove. Once I got here, it was, I was in a whole new world. It was busier here, warmer here, a lot more humid, and I moved into my dorm. I had met my roommates for that year. I had met them online, so I met all of the guys on Facebook and had been talking to them for a couple of months beforehand. I moved in, then a hurricane hit, and I had to come right back to North Dakota. So that kind of sucked. That was my first real experience of living down south, I guess. After the hurricane had passed, I came back to Savannah. I had gotten on the elevator, and there was this kid in the elevator, and he was going to the same floor that I was in our dorm. He asked me where I was from. I told him North Dakota. He thought that was really cool because he was from Canada. And that was the first student that I ever met in person at SCAD, and he ended up being my closest and best friend at SCAD, and now he's more of a brother than that. But we'll get into that as this college story continues. But yeah, I met him. We got off the elevator and we walked down the hallway, and we just kept walking right by each other. I was like, when's this kid gonna turn off and go into his room? And then he ends up turning this way, I turn this way, and our rooms were right across from each other. So the kid from North Dakota was on the right, and the kid from Canada was on the left. I got to meet my roommates at that time in person, which was great because I had been talking to them for so long over text messages and Snapchat and stuff like that. So I got to meet them, and it was just great. That first year, I spent the majority of my time, hanging out with friends and making new relationships, because you're in a new place. It's scary, it's weird, it's different, and it can be uncomfortable at times. So I knew that one thing that I had to do was find my people. And I was lucky enough to find several different groups and make more friends than I could have ever imagined in college, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm a weird kid. I'm bubbly. I'm a kid who walks around with a camera and vlogs everything at this point and posts it on the internet, so I'm weird. At this time, I was uncomfortable in my own body. I was, embarrassed by the things I wore. I was awkward, and no one really thought that except for me. So we're our own worst critics, am I right? Freshman year went on, and I literally would just go to classes, come home, hang out with friends, do homework, and that was my entire freshman year. I didn't do very much as far as being on set. I didn't do everything that I came here for, so it felt a little weird after my freshman year. It felt like I didn't really know what I was doing at SCAD. I was like, okay, this is great, but why am I drawing? Why? This is okay. That's... wow. But then as time goes on, I eventually get into more film classes and get to experience what it's like to be on a set. Towards the end of freshman year, I met my closest friend group, who were some kids that were a little bit older than me, and we ended up becoming this family and this group that would hang out every single weekend and as frequently as possible. They lived at the Blake Apartments, and it are pretty much the reason why Anthony and I ended up moving here after our freshman year. The summer after freshman year, I'm back in North Dakota, living my life, doing summer theater and working and just doing whatever I can to keep myself busy. Then I come back down to Georgia. We sign our leases for our apartment, get all our stuff from the storage unit, and then we move into our apartment. And I could spend a lot of time talking about each year of college, but that'd be a lot. So I gave you the build up, and then the next 3 years of school I lived here and hung out with my friends as much as I could, and then eventually got really busy, got in a pretty serious committed relationship, and then started working on a lot of sets. Each set would open the door to another opportunity, so it was pretty much nonstop there for a majority of my sophomore year, working all the time, and wearing myself down. Quite honestly, I was worn out. I mean, I always loved being busy in high school and keeping myself as busy as possible. So, hi. What?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is your sister here, and would you want to do a dinner?
My sister's not here. Just my mom and dad will be here.
So it's just the three of you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a dinner Saturday or Sunday as a group?
Probably Saturday.
My mom's gonna look into booking something.
Okay.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Cool.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I'm just filming a recap video.
Of what?
Our lives.
Of our lives?
Of our lives.
Our whole lives?
Well, together.
Is this gonna go in the video?
What video?
The recap video?
Yeah.
Hunter says, hi, Mom. Do you have a minute? Because my mom wants to tell us something. Wait, me or him? She saw someone in the street with a mask that looked just like Hunter. Were you out today? Oh no, he's been in his room all day. She went up to him and said, hi, are you Hunter? What did the guy say? He took his mask down and said no. And then my mom said, with your mask on, you look just like Hunter.
Anyways, so sophomore year went on. Junior year was rough. Junior year was the most emotionally and physically draining year of my life to this point. Looking back at junior year, it makes me really uncomfortable and anxious and stressed. I went through a rough breakup. I was working a lot and overdoing it. I was exhausted. And then on my birthday that year, COVID hit. Everything changed. At the beginning of COVID, things were looking up. My birthday was coming up. I was turning 21. My friends were excited. And then COVID hit and everything was shutting down. There was panic across the entire world. And honestly, looking back, it may be my fault. I looked at my friends Anthony and Josh and I said, March is gonna be the best month ever. We're gonna hang out, we're gonna have a good time, it's gonna be great. Boom, world shuts down. So my birthday was switched to hang out at the beach and our apartment's pool with my closest friends. That was great. It was so much fun and I wouldn't trade that for anything. At this point in time, we had thought, things will go back to normal within a couple weeks. School was pushed back. The start of the next quarter was pushed back just like a week. We were excited about it. But then things started getting worse and Anthony had to go back home. Other people were going back home. The dorms were closing, so everybody who lived in the dorms had to leave. And then they started closing the state's borders. So I had to get back home. I think that I grew a lot and I changed a lot in that time, and it brought me to where I am now. Because of the pandemic, I went back home, instantly started working back at Target, doing classes full-time online, and then summer came around. I was still working, didn't have classes to worry about at this time, was in pre-production of my film, getting things together. I ended up reconnecting with one of my closest friends, Emily. We've been friends since second grade, first grade, best friends. And every time we get back together, it just picks up where it left off. And that led me to a job at DAC Jam Music and Arts Festival. And then classes started again, still online, and I stayed home for the quarter and worked both Target, DAC Jam, and then did classes. Had a crazy schedule where it would be work at Target 5 a.m. until whatever time, classes, and then DAC Jam, and then do it all again the next day. And as hectic and busy and tiring that was, I'm so glad I did it. It helped strengthen my work ethic and organization so much, and I was still doing what I loved. over at DAC Jam. So it was a win in a losing time. So I'm very grateful for that. Things were kind of sort of opening back up, not too open, but open enough for where I could come back to Georgia. So I came back for New Year's, got to spend time with my friends here, got to be reunited with Anthony. It was just us in our apartment at the time, so we had this whole apartment to ourselves, and we just had such a good time. Our work ethic was insane. We at one point had our desks out in the living room together, and we would just do our classes side by side, do all of our work in the living room, and it was just nonstop work and hustle and grind. That's one thing that I love about Anthony, is he's constantly working, and he works so hard, harder than anyone that I've ever seen, and I think it kind of rubbed off on me. I got a little bit of his work ethic. I'm thankful for that. But yeah, and then we made it through this senior year now. It was stressful, it was exhausting, it was non-stop work all the time. I was working remotely for DAC Jam, making content here in Georgia for them over in Minot, and it was so much fun, and it really gave us an opportunity to branch out the brand, I think, and also it gave me an opportunity to work almost full-time and still have time to do classes and hang out with friends. By no means was this experience at college easy. Maybe our schools let everyone in. Maybe it's easy to be accepted into a school like SCAD. Maybe it can be easy to graduate SCAD. Maybe it can be easy to finish it out. But when you come from a background like mine, where sometimes it may look like it's easy because of the work that's going into it to make it look that way, but by no means was graduating SCAD easy. The long hours were intense. The things we were doing is something that people may look at and think is easy, and it's not. There's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of thought, a lot of pre-planning, and the pre-planning to the execution is a long and tedious process, and it's not easy. And this school is not just an art school. We do a lot of artistic things here, but I got to take a political science class. I took my English courses. I took classes that I wouldn't get anywhere else. And now here I am graduating. At this school, you get 4 absences in a class. If you miss more than 4 classes in a quarter, you fail that class automatically. What other college does that? What other college expects you to be there 100% of the time and to give it your all 100% of the time? I wish I was in contact with that teacher from high school, just so they could see where I'm at now. Because it may have been easy to get in, but it was not an easy road to get to this point that I'm at now. I just don't ever want another kid. I was a kid. I'm still a kid. I'm still learning. But I don't want another kid to ever feel like their dream, because it's not the normal path. It's not something that you see every single day. It's not a career choice that may be straight from the book of careers that are fitting for people from a town like Minot, North Dakota. I don't want those kids to be discouraged. I don't want those kids to feel like what they're doing is wrong because it's not what somebody else expects. I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love every single day, that I got to go to school for something that is out of the box. It is nowhere near anything that I could get in North Dakota. It is something that I would not trade for the world. I have experience that will take me exactly where I want to go if I'm willing to put that work in. Looking back, I thank that teacher, because even though I know it's not what their intent was, they gave me a fire. They put a fire underneath me, because more than anything, other than proving to myself, more than anything, I just wanted to prove them wrong. And if I haven't done it yet, I sure as hell am gonna do it within the next 10 years. I've proven it to myself, but I'll keep fighting until I prove it to them too. You know, I think the hardest part of this experience is what's happening now. As I look around my room and I see like the walls getting a little more empty and my stuff is put in boxes, and I'm about to move back to North Dakota, and never come back here for school. It's hard, you know. I came here with really low expectations and not really knowing anyone. But over the last 4 years, I've made the best memories with the most incredible people. If I wouldn't have made the friends that I made my freshman year, I don't think I would have made it through this experience. Oh my god, this sucks. I don't want to say goodbye. Because when I say goodbye, that makes it real. It's different this time, leaving, because I know I'm not gonna be back in this room in a year. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future, I'm excited to do things, but I just wish it wouldn't move so fast. These friends, this family that I've made here, they have seen me at the lowest of lows in my life. They've been there and given me hugs when I'm so down that I don't know how I'm gonna get back up. And I do a pretty good job of hiding my feelings and my emotions. But every once in a while, even the best actors, you know, they break character. And I'm glad that I have friends that I feel comfortable enough around to let that wall down. I'm glad that even through all these changes that I've gone through over the last 4 years, they still care about me. They take me in every time that I open up and share information, and that's pretty special. I know it's gonna be fine. I know this is part of life. It's just like, you know, I built a life here, making relationships and work and school and everything here. And leaving Minot isn't hard because I have so many roots there that I know I'm always gonna go back to. I know I'm always gonna visit, but like, I'm never gonna get this. I'm never gonna be able to visit this right now the way it is. I can come back to Savannah. It's a gorgeous city, but it's not Savannah without my people, so it's hard. But to quote one of my favorite movies, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these will be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
I was thinking about the band, I was thinking about the fans. We were underground, loading merch in that 12-passenger van, in a small club in Minnesota, and the snow outside of First Ave. I just wanted my name and a star. Now look at where we at, still growing up, still growing up. I would lay in my bed and dream about what I've become. Couldn't wait to get older, couldn't wait to be some. Now that I'm here, wishing I was still young. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Wish I didn't think I had the answers. Wish I didn't drink all of that glass first. Wish I made it to homecoming, got up the courage to ask her. Wish I would've gotten out of my show. Wish I put the bottle back on that shelf. Wish I wouldn't have worried about what other people thought and felt comfortable with myself. Rooftop open, and the stars above. Moment frozen, sneaking out and falling in love. Me, you, and that futon, we just begun. On the grass dreaming, figuring out who I was. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. You don't know what you got till it goes. till it's gone. You don't know what you got till it goes, till it's gone. I wish somebody would have told me, babe, someday these will be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change.